Attention, this is an announcement for all Armstrong School District parents. There are new immunization requirements for the 2011-2012 school year. If your child's immunizations are not up to date, they will not be permitted to attend school after April 24, 2012. If you have already updated your child's vaccines, it is very important to share this information with your school nurse as soon as possible. You may call your school nurse directly or complete the notice you received in the mail and return it to your child's school. The nurses need to have record of the dates your child's vaccines were updated by April 24, 2012, or they will not be permitted to attend school. All students, kindergarten through 12th grade, need 2 doses of varicella, the chickenpox vaccine, unless your child has already had the disease. Also, all students entering 7th grade have to have their Tdap and 1 dose of MCV. For a complete list of required immunizations, please visit the Armstrong School District website and click on the New Immunizations Requirements tab at the bottom left-hand corner of the page.
And for those MIAs who are left behind, we echo this message across the streets. We will search for as long as it takes. You're not forgotten and will always be in our hearts, in our prayers, in our minds for all time.
Moment of silence, a moment of time, that delivers the body and soul to a sacred place that we all know, deep in the shrine of our soul, in our hearts, in our prayers, in our minds for all time. These immortalized soldiers who bravely have bound, there are husbands, wives, fathers, mothers, sons, and daughters.
They enlisted for the duty at hand to serve the cause of country and land. They had honor, they had valor. They found glory that changed them forever. Men and women, standing tall and proud, they lead a country behind them in a solemn singing. So let the flags of freedom fly unfurled in their majesty high, in the sun and the rain and the winds across this land. Years of tears has brought us here, gathering around to hear the sound. So let the flags of freedom fly unfurled in their majesty high.
In the sun, in the rain, and the winds across this land. In the sun, in the rain, and the winds for all time.
On Veterans Day, we honor all
Who answered to a service call.
soldiers young and soldiers old.
Fought for freedom, brave and bold.
Some have lived while others died, and all of them deserve our pride.
Thinking of red, white, and blue, they fought for many days and nights.
And though we may not know each name,
We thank all veterans just the same.
would everyone here please join us as we give a big thank you to all of our distinguished guests that could be with us here today, as well as to all those who couldn't be here. Our thoughts and prayers are with all of you.
So if you once again just please hold your applause until the very end, and then we'll give the entire group of veterans the well-deserved applause that we will give them here from Lenape Elementary. Our first veteran, Alan Miller. He served in the Army during Vietnam. Student is Alicia Smale. Our next veteran, Andy Arblaster, is currently serving in the Army Reserves. The student, Mia Arblaster. Next we have Barb Waltenbaugh. Served in the Air Force during Desert Storm and Iraq Freedom. The student, Representative Megan Heckler. Betty Bonner. She served in the Navy during peacetime. The student, William Mundy. Bill Kilgore served in the Marines in the multinational peacekeeping force in Beirut, Lebanon, 1983. Student, Abby Kilgore. Bill McMaster served in the Navy during Vietnam. Students are Hannah Spatafor and Sarah Spatafor. Charles Slagle served in the Air Force during Vietnam. Students, Charles Goodman. Charlene Barker served in the Air Force during Desert Storm. And also William Houlihan served in the Navy during peacetime, as well as James Barker served in the Army during the Korean War, all represented by Jameson Barker. Clifford Fennell served in the Army during Vietnam. Students are Lexi McCann, Lacey McCann, Aubrey McCann, Brady Fennell, Cherokee Schreckengoss, and Olivia Fennell. Next we have Clyde H. Klein, who served in the Marine Corps and the PA National Guard. He was retired from the Army and fought in Vietnam as a Marine. Student, Marion Beck. Colonel Dan Chichakis served in the Army from 1981 to the present. He is from Chicago. Welcome from Chicago. He is the uncle of Lydia Lucas and Emily Lucas. Please hold your applause until the end. Thank you. Daryl Savison served in both the Navy and the Army. He served in the Navy during peacetime and in the Army during conflict. Student is Lily Fox. Next we have Damian Nicholson. served in the Army National Guard during peacetime and conflict. The student is Damoni Nicholson. Next up is David Goodman. He served in the Navy during Vietnam. Students are Charles Goodman, Jesse Holitik, Eli Holitik, Kalina Goodman, Blake Gelbrecht, and Christina Gelbrecht. We have Earl Smeltzer, who served in the Army during peacetime. Students are Krista Wright and Janessa Kedab. Ed Hromadek served in the Army during peacetime. Students are Mason Aldrich and Trevor Aldrich. Next we have Ed Olenchek, served in the Navy during the Gulf War. Students are Nev Olenchek and Skylar Olenchek. Franklin D. Sweeney served in the Navy and the National Guard. He served during the Cuban crisis. Students are Mackenzie Sweeney and Kyle Sweeney. Remember, be respectful. We have Gary E. Guthrie, served in the Army and the PA National Guard from January 1971 to present. He served during Vietnam and Iraq. The student is Jaden Riggle. Gary Robrin served in the Marine Corps during Vietnam. The student is Leah Shellhammer. Heather M. Walker served in the Air Force from 1996 to the present. Student is Zoe Walker. Hugh Bonner served in the Navy during peacetime. The student is William Mundy. Next we have Jacob Biebinger, served in the Navy during Iraq. The student is Riley Potts. We also have James Clausen, served in the Army Airborne during peacetime. Student is also Riley Potts. Next is James R. Sell. He served in the Army during peacetime and conflict. He is a retired custodian from our school. John Boback served in the Army during Vietnam. The students are Ian Boback, Daniel Boback, and Alex Boback. Next, John Dubiel served in the Air Force during Vietnam. The students are Aaron Dubiel, Chloe Dubiel, and Ben Dubiel. Jack Dunmeyer served in the Army during Vietnam. The student is Kayla Miller. Next we have John Gezzi. He served in the Army during the Korean conflict. Student is Tanya Velcro. John S. Yunt served in the Army Reserves during the Vietnam War. The students are Julia Miller, Emily Miller, and Grace Wilson. John Krakota served in the Army during peacetime. He is the father of Mr. Krakota. Larry Waltbaugh served in the Air Force during the Vietnam era. The student is Megan Hepler. Matthew Riggle served in the Army Corps during Operation Iraqi Freedom. The students are Mackenzie Riggle, Maya Riggle, and Malia Riggle. Next is Michael Woodside. He served in the Air Force during the Vietnam War. Students are Jacob Schaefer, Julie Schaefer, and Glenn Donaldson. Mike Lindhart served in the Army during peacetime 1986 to 1990 and during Desert Storm from 1990 to 91. Students are Brianna Lindhart and Bailey Lindhart. Missy Dubiel served in Pennsylvania Air National Guard during Desert Storm and Iraqi Freedom. The students are Aaron Dubiel, Chloe Dubiel, and Ben Dubiel. Mirren Earhart served in the Air Force during the conflict. The student is Matthew Bates. Paul Bailey served in the Army during 1963 to 1965 and during Vietnam. The student is Nate Bailey. Paul Jackson served in the Army during the Korean War. The student is Lizzie Forrester. Paul Navies served in the Coast Guard during peacetime. The student is Matthew Bates. Ralph Satterfield served in the Army during peacetime. The student is Jacob Satterfield. Raymond Tarr served in the Army during Vietnam and Cambodia. The student is Gavin Zamansky. Richard Geiser served in the Army during peacetime and in conflict. The student is Jessa Kinter. Ronald Pat Sr. served in the Army during conflict. Student Grace and Nick Goodman. Russell Wilson served in the Marine Corps during peacetime. The student Grace Wilson. Sean McAfee served in the Air Force during peacetime and conflict. The student is Cameron McAfee. Sean Schwartz served in the Army during Desert Storm and Iraqi freedom. Students are Caitlin Schwartz and Connor Schwartz. Next is Stanley Pepler. He served in the Air Force during Vietnam. The student is Megan Pepler. Stanley Reed served in the Air Force with the World War II 44th Bomb Group. Students are Neb Olenchek and Skylar Olenchek. Timothy Farnan served in the National Guard during our Operation Iraqi Freedom. Student is Ryan Farnan. Thomas Deal served in the Army during Vietnam. Student Emily Smith. Thomas E. Sellers Sr. served in the Air Force for the 31st Pac Fighter Wing in Vietnam from 1967 to 1968. Student is Caroline Sellers. Thomas Hogan served in the Navy during the Bay of Pigs. He is the father-in-law of Mrs. Hogan and the grandfather of Jackson Hogan. Tom Newton served in the Air Force during Vietnam. The student is Megan Pepler. Wallace Panchik served in the Army during World War II. The students are Connor Morris and Dylan Morris. Wallace Solinsky served in the 99th Infantry of the Army. He is a World War II vet and was in the Battle of the Bulge. His two grandchildren attended Lenape, and his daughter-in-law is Mrs. Tolinsky. William Mundy served in the Army during peacetime. Student is William Mundy. And finally, Willis Stitt served in the Army during peacetime. Students Jacob Satterfield and Zach Graham. At this time, with Lenape Elementary, please give our veterans a warm round of applause.
Elementary have been collecting coins for the past 2 weeks in each of our classrooms. Coins we have collected to benefit the needs of our local veterans and community. We are pleased to announce today that we have raised $379.64 for our local veterans. Thank you to all students and staff for your contribution.
Hello. On behalf of the elementary students and staff, we would like to present this check to the S8E19 Veteran Center. We have the coordinator here today, Sean Halliday, and 2 veterans, Frank Pino and Thomas Bell, and they're here to accept this gift. Some of the students also make corners for your veterans. While we have these 2 gentlemen up here, I think we need to give them a big round of applause.
Just like children